Hodgepodge Garage. So we're going to be starting a project on my 1994 Toyota Supra. This is a right-hand drive JDM model. I picked it up in Japan. I was just stationed there for 5 years, just moved back to the US, so now's the perfect time to get back into a full restoration on this thing. The video is just going to be to kind of go over what problems it's got, so that way you guys can see what I'm going to be doing on it. I've had a few requests of people asking to see videos and, you know, kind of how I rebuild things. So I'm going to take you guys along. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, follow along, like, whatever you need to do. But I'm going to do a full walk around on the car just to kind of show you guys what we're dealing with. It's going to be a lot of rust repair, body work. If you like Motion Auto TV and his primer and block sanding videos, going to be that probably for a while. But let's get right into it. I'll show you guys what we're dealing with here. So right off the bat, this is quite a bit of rust there. You can kind of see that there's just a lot of stuff going on inside there. That's all going to have to be cut out. So I'm going to probably just cut right there and just re-weld in a new piece of metal. This channel is probably going to be the most difficult part, just trying to get that bend right, but I think we can handle that. There's some Bondo just flaking off all over the place. This car is just filled with Bondo, but you can kind of see some rust coming through right there. Quarter glass wise, there wasn't a whole lot, just a little bit of rust there. But on the inside, on this panel, there's substantial rust. So we're going to be replacing that as well. Now the previous owner did have a wide body kit on this. And that's kind of what this is hiding. So this, I started sanding, and you can kind of see my sand marks there. But whenever I was sanding, I got through layers and layers and layers of paint. And I think the car's been painted red at least 3 times, silver once, white once, and the original color is black. So we're gonna have to take it down to bare metal, just because I don't want all those layers and all the primer and all that other stuff. So we're gonna media blast the whole car. But you can see that they have rivets here. So all of those are gonna have to be welded up, and then we'll actually blend it in. So the quarter panel will look more OEM. I think getting an OEM panel for this is probably going to be a little bit expensive and difficult, just because this is the hardtop model, and the US models were predominantly the target tops. I think they're different, I don't know. But I have the fiberglass Graham styling. I think they're 10 millimeter wide body, so we'll blend those in, make them look nice, and we'll actually do the proper wide body, because you can see here that the previous shop did not do a great job. They cut the inner and outer skin and then did nothing to seal it, and it's just kind of all open to the elements. So that's going to have to be replaced, and I think that this is just beyond salvaging. So we're going to have to try to get it the best we can. On this side it's pretty bad. The other side, it's not as bad, but there is a lot of Bondo. Coming back over here, there's a rust hole right there, and you can see just how thick that Bondo is. And it gets thicker. There's other spots where it's even worse, but we'll get into that. So I started stripping some of the paint, and once I started to see layers on layers on layers, I just decided it wasn't worth it to spend a couple $1,000s in sandpaper when I can just spend, you know, $1,000 or $2,000, just have the whole car media blasted. And that way we can see exactly what we're dealing with, because up here we've just got rust galore. That whole piece is going to have to be fabricated, welded, and put back in. We've got some missing metal under there. And that's not terrible, but could use a replacement. Got another hole right there. And then this is just bad. I mean, this whole thing is just structurally weak. So we're going to have to cut out more metal and re-weld it. And I think all of that's gonna have to come out, because it just comes all the way across to here and down. So we'll cut out this whole section and try to replicate these bends the best we can, but then inside there, that whole floor pan is going to have to be replaced. But I believe this car's been in an accident at least once, maybe twice in its life, maybe just one really bad one. But you can see we're missing more metal there, but I know for a fact this quarter panel's been replaced, because if you look on the inside of the quarter panel, you can see kind of bad stitch welds. So we're gonna have to remedy that. There's more, it just flakes off. But the gas tank, the metal for the gas tank has been crinkled in on that side. Gas tank cover. Gas tank is above that, but there's more of that thick Bondo there. Same thing on this side, just rivet holes. We're gonna have to weld, just fill them all up. But this quarter glass window, not the best. They actually did not have sealant from here to there, so you can see the rust, and then from here to here, I think, yeah, up to here, there was no sealant at all. So whenever I pulled this, it was just super simple to yank that whole window out. So because of that, water got in there and just rusted the whole thing out. But this side's quarter panel is not as bad, but I haven't really dove into this one. But you can see that gap, like you can get your finger all the way up in there. And just imagine, you know, water getting up inside there, you can see straight into the car. So it's not a good sign. And there's more of that thick Bondo. And it's hard to see with the black paint, but the skin of the car is right there. This is all Bondo. So that's super thick. But yeah, this quarter panel has been replaced. So not a great sign. And you can just see Bondo filling that hole there. I did find evidence of another crash thing there that's crinkled in, so that's not great, but hopefully it doesn't need any frame work. I'm pretty sure it does, but we'll get to that when we get to it. First things first, media blast it, find out if the shell is toast or if it's going to be salvageable. But the engine bay is silver, car is red, was originally black, so it's at least been painted a couple times. I had a TRD strut bar that went across there, but because of the impact, which I'm pretty sure was on this side, it's bent too far in so the bar wouldn't fit, and the TRD strut bars are solid, so it doesn't really allow much room for flexibility, and this thing has flexed quite a bit. The engine is all stock. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. The stock turbos were going bad. I had this thing sitting on a shelf from a previous Supra build, so I just threw it on there. It's not ready for it, but it works. It just takes forever to spool that thing. It's a Borg Warner S475. Really, engine stuff wise, it's got the 4-inch exhaust that goes with it, a blow-off valve down there. I think it's a 50 millimeter. Then it's got a 60 millimeter wastegate down there. And the Mishimoto radiator and the Mishimoto fans. And then a front mount intercooler. I think it's Autobahn 88 or something. Not the greatest. So that's probably going to get trashed. But you can just see that all of this stuff is not factory all along here and up inside there. So this whole side has been replaced, but we'll find out when we get the engine out. We'll be able to actually kind of see a little bit better where they replaced it, where they stitched everything, and hopefully I don't have to do too much work. Maybe I can just cut it off and line it back up and then re-weld it back on in the correct spot. Interior wise, floor pan stuff, yeah, it's got some water in it. Like I said, the car just got here from Japan, I think 2 weeks ago, and I started stripping it apart last week. And when I did that, I took the carpet out and there was a lot of water in it. So I think during shipping some water got in here, but it still ran, so ECU is not fried. But it is a 6-speed, so that helps out. And it's original twin turbo 6-speed. Not a bad car. I think it's still salvageable. I did put the Cadillac CTS-V brakes on the front and rear, and then these wheels they're not great, so I don't know if I'm going to keep them, get them refurbished, or just end up getting something different. I think I want something different, something that shows off the brakes just a little bit more, because it's kind of hard to see them behind all those spokes. But yeah, that's it. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of welding, a lot of paint prep. I think inside wise, I don't know if I'm going to get that blasted or not, just because there's not that much rust in there, maybe just around the quarter glass and where I see rust. But I don't know, that might bite me in the ass later. I might end up finding more shoddy repairs, and I can already see some rust forming along there. I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll end up stripping it even further, take the HVAC out and kind of restore that, and have the whole thing blasted and just reseal everything, because I think it needs it. But yeah, if you guys, if you want to follow along, if you want to subscribe, and if this is the kind of thing you like to watch, then I don't think I'm going to be posting very often. It'll be, maybe a video a month or something like that. I do have a full-time job, so that's going to take up a lot of my time. School, I have to, do homework and study and stuff like that, so I can't devote a whole lot of time to it, but it will get done. It'll probably be, who knows, maybe a year, 2 years, something like that, but I will post videos when I do things. I believe the next video is probably going to be engine removal. So I got a transmission jack, I've got the shop crane, and we'll just go ahead and drop the V160 out and then pull the engine out and put it on the stand. I don't know what I'm going to do to the engine yet. I haven't really thought about it. It just depends on the body right now. But if the body's okay, then the engine will probably just get cams, valve springs, retainers, stock short block. I'm not shooting for 1,000 horsepower Supra or anything crazy. Maybe 600, 650, something kind of simple. That turbo is probably going to get put on something else. Maybe I'll go with a smaller turbo or something more feasible for the car, maybe more street use. But it'll go back to black. I think black Supras look great. So going back to the factory, black will be a good idea. Coilovers will get replaced because they're rusted, but exhaust is going to stay the same. Interior, nothing fancy in there. There is some leather work that needs redone. Just, the car's 25, going on 26 years old now, so the leather's a little bit worn. But we'll replace all that. Maybe powder coat some things, make it look a little bit nicer, but all in all, it's going to look pretty much like a stock Supra. Because it's a Japanese model, it's got the aero side skirts and the rear spats, and I might do one of the, lips that go on it and make it look a little bit lower, but a TRD wing, maybe go wingless, I don't know. The hatch needs replaced, so it might get a carbon fiber hatch unless I can find an OEM hatch that's rust free for a relatively good price. it's just got a giant rust hole on it. So that's going to have to be replaced, but the hood is in good shape. The fenders are in good shape. The doors are in good shape. So I think we have everything that we need to put it back together. We just need to get it blasted and then start with primer and body work, a lot of welding. So if you guys like seeing stuff like that, follow along, subscribe, like, share, and we'll get it going. I'll see you guys on the next episode for engine removal and transmission removal. See ya.